everyone, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's World About Art. So I saw this picture of this beautiful boat and I was just so inspired to paint it. It's just the most amazing colour and I loved the flags on it and I loved all the detail. So I thought I'd have a go at painting it in watercolour for you all and make a tutorial. So I hope you enjoy this video. So to begin with, I go over the whole background, leaving the boats and the houses and the hill in the background. I go over everything that is going to be blue. So the sky and the water, I go over with ultramarine blue for the first layer. For the sand, I use a little bit of yellow ochre and I add a touch of burnt umber to it just to brown it off a little bit. And I pop in slightly darker areas around where there's going to be shadows in front of the houses and just down the beach in general. There's a few shadows here and there, so I pop those in while I'm creating the sand and while it's still a little bit damp. So now I go back over the ocean and I start to darken up the waves, and I go in again with ultramarine blue, just thicker consistency, so more paint, less water. And I go another layer, leaving gaps for the waves. It just creates the effect of ripples on the water, and I take that right around pretty much the whole lower part of the painting. I start to add shadows around the bottom of the boats, but I will build that up with an even darker tone of a purpley blue in a little while. The boat is this wonderful vibrant red, so I use Pyrrole red in my core watercolours, and I will build this up in layers as I go. I start off with a very thin wash and then I build it up, and for the flags on the top, I'm leaving the white of the paper for the masts holding the flags. They're attached to buoys, like the things that they drop out in the water, and obviously those flags are there so that when they drop their buoys in the water, they can see them to pick them up because their little flags will be flying on top. So now I start to build up more layers on the base of the boat, and I add a little bit of Venetian red to it this time just to create some shadow areas on the bottom of the boat. And it's still looking a bit flat. I'm going to add some more colours just to get some more shape to it. So it is dark around under the edge near the railing on the side of the boat, and also there's a darker stripe at the base of the boat, so I'll pop that in. And the buoy that the boat is moored to is a little bright orange buoy, so I pop that on and I pop in the orange, Pyrrole orange, and then I lift a little bit of it off. So for the cabin, it's white, so I'm doing the shadows and reflections in the glass, and I'll leave the white of the cab the white of the paper because I'll try to use as little white gouache as I can and try to use the white paper to create the highlights on the work. So now the front of the cab is a little bit darker, so I will add just a wash of that same grey shadow colour just to the front and in stronger tones into the windows. I use yellow ochre with a touch of burnt sienna for around the edge of the top of the boat. And I also add some burnt umber in just to create a little bit more of the wood texture. So now for the base of the boat, I go over everything that I've already just done with pure Pyrrole red. I go a thicker consistency because watercolour is transparent. You can see the underneath layers. So I just went over the front of the bottom of that boat with a stronger red. I start to define the shadows around the cab of the boat a little bit more, and I get into the fun stuff, which is all the bits and bobs in the back of the boat. So there's a green net and there's just some boxes and some little bits of rope all wrapped up. So I pop those in just for a bit of fun, and it gives you something else to look at on the boat. It was a really fun picture. I really enjoyed painting it. So I pop a bit more detail on the buoy at the front and pop in the ropes, which are also green, which I thought was rather fun. This boat was extremely colourful. So now these flags, I'm adding the red in, and when they pop the buoys in the water, these are what they find them with. That pops out of the water, so they're really visible. So I pop all these red flags colour in, and I'll go around and add a few defining colours, like a few darker colours into the shadow areas on those. And there's also a couple of black flags, which I had a bit of fun popping those in, so pop those in there. And there's some kind of a railing on the side of the boat, so I'll pop that in here now as well. So it's a dark grey. I don't know whether it's they hang things off it or what they do with it, but yes, I'll pop that railing off the side of the boat. And there's also this rope spool, so I've got that. I'm just painting that in now, and then I get to work on the houses in the background and the trees. For the houses I use different tones of greys, and for the trees I use sap green and indigo in varying quantities, just to make the different tones of green. And I also add a purpley tone to the mountains, and I made that with magenta and a bit of indigo to make that mountain in the background, and then I pop it on and then I blot it out again just to make it a bit softer looking. For the little boats in the background, I just add little pops of colour onto them just to give them a little bit more interest, but I mainly leave them the white of the paper. I just add a few little highlight colours just to give them a bit of shape and make them look a bit more like boats. Now I pop in the darkest shadows onto the ocean, just being very careful to leave little glints of the lighter colours underneath coming through, just to still create that ripple effect. So we're nearing the end of the video, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I had a great time painting it. I'd love it if you click like and subscribe, click on the bell icon, that way you'll be notified when I release a new video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I had a great time making this. Have an awesome day, and I will see you all for the next video. Okie doke, I'll catch you then. Bye.